Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook, so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one-size-fits-all approaches, just real answers, deep-rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm for women's health. Now, on to the show. Today, we have an incredible guest, Holly Overcashier. I just love her last name. I think so many of you women are going to relate to this story and get so much insight from her. She is the founder of Elderwise Organics, a very successful, incredibly heart-centered company. It's a superfood company designed to make whole body wellness simple and accessible. And it was really born out of her own personal health journey. And I'm going to really open the floor to her, let her share a little bit about her health journey, kind of how she got started in this. I think a lot of you guys are going to resonate very, very heavily with this. So Holly, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited for this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. We were chatting before and I was like, Holly, I think you're just going to have to come on for another podcast. We have so many wonderful things to tap on, but now I'd love for you to just open up a little bit on kind of how you got started on your health journey. It's really interesting.
Oh, absolutely. So, what really shifted my paradigm when it comes to the health industry and, the medical world was I had 7 knee surgeries and a heart surgery by age 22. My very first surgery was when I was 8. So, leading up to that, I had 4 during my adolescent years. And then, my husband and I got married. We'd been married for 2 years, and we were saying, we would really love to start a family. And the doctor said, well, the medications that you're taking right now are not going to support you being able to carry a pregnancy. And also, it's just there's a lot of risks involved. And so, let's have some surgeries. Let's try and address that because it was all vascular. So, at that time, we had 3 knee surgeries and a heart surgery because I had also developed a heart arrhythmia. So 3 knee surgeries and a heart surgery in just a 3-month period. And friend, I am telling you, after that, my poor body, I couldn't eat anything without feeling sick. My chest and back had, inflammation all over, just spots and dots. And of course, their suggestion was like, let's try another cream. Let's try another antibiotic. Let's try another steroid. And at that point, I truly felt like every time I went in there, they were just rolling the dice. And to be honest with you, they just truly aren't equipped properly to understand the body fully. They know how to treat symptoms, not necessarily support the body. So I don't blame them. They were doing what they knew how to do. And I truly felt like I was a guinea pig. I left the doctor's office one day after 3 months of trial and error, after, post-op. And I just felt defeated. I felt like a prisoner in my own body. I was very much bed rest. I couldn't eat a lot of things. I remember going to, events and things and just feeling so sick all of the time. Just going to our family's house, even. I was just like, this is not living. And I'm 22 years old.
Yeah.
So I just literally cried out to God. I didn't even bother driving home. I literally just sat in the parking lot and I just cried. And I said, this cannot be my life. I know what your word says, and it says that I am free indeed, and I do not feel free. And I said, I want something different. There has to be something different. And I felt everything inside of me. I felt his voice. I heard his voice, and it was just, daughter, there is something different. Let me take you on a journey. And I said, yes. I couldn't keep doing what I was doing, that's for sure. So I went to the library. I checked out a book. This was before all of the podcasts and all of the things. This was in 2011. So we're talking 14 years ago, And so I'm like, oh my word, I have no idea what I'm doing. And we were also on food stamps. We didn't have money for all of the supplements or, any kind of holistic doctors or anything, even though I would have loved their insight and help. I just couldn't, I was not in a place to financially be able to afford that. And so I literally just went to, Whole Foods, holistic approach. There wasn't Whole Foods at that time. If they were, I couldn't afford them. But I'm just saying, I went to, just the grocery store and got chicken and rice and, white potatoes and different things that were easy to digest. And then I started learning, oh, there's even more to it. I didn't overcomplicate it. I literally just said, What does my body need? What doesn't come in a box? What doesn't come in a can? I'm going to eat that. Now, it was a radical change. It was a radical difference. I went from eating a lot of processed food. I had no concept of holistic health at that point. Literally, I was born and raised on a farm. Meat and potatoes are what we had. It was just very much like wholesome nutrients, of course, but also the conveniences of, living as a college student and a 22-year-old, and just, what the world told us was good and healthy, fat free and high sugar and all of the things that I didn't know. So we're talking, it was a radical difference. Within 3 months, I noticed such a profound impact on my health. I was noticing I had energy again. I felt like I had life within me. I felt like I could breathe differently. I saw the world differently. I had hope. I had hope again, Shannon. I had hope that I could live a real, healthy life. One day I was driving home from the little co-op. Now, I want you to picture this co-op, okay? It's the kind where you walk in and it smells like a mixture of like essential oils and body odor, okay? Like it's literally one of those where you walk in and you're like, I already love it here. It just feels comfy and cozy. And I got to be such good friends with those hippies in there, and they loved me. Like it was my weekly stop to go and get a few of the things like turmeric. I remember getting leeks and fennel and just different things to support my body that I couldn't find at the regular grocery store at that time. And so I was making my own kombucha. I had all of the questions, and they just loved hearing, what I was doing. And of course, they were such a champion for me. I remember driving home from there one day. It's such a vivid core memory of mine. And I saw someone running, a female. I saw her running on the side of the road, and she was radiating. Literally, those shirts that say, I don't sweat, I sparkle. She was sparkling. I literally was like, lady, you're happy and you're running. Like, make it make sense, And I was just like, God, I wish I could feel good moving. I wish I could move, let alone be happy moving. And you know what he said back? He said, why can't you? And right then I'm like, because they told me I couldn't. They told me I couldn't move. He said, they also told you that you couldn't be healthy. And look at you now. Look at what you're doing. So I went home. I put on my pair of shoes that certainly came from the thrift store because I didn't have money for new shoes or a trainer or anything. And I started walking. And the next day I walked a little bit farther. And the next day I walked a little bit farther. And then I got the harebrained idea of maybe I should start running. And so I started running and running and running. And I trained for 6 months. And a year after my heart surgery, I ran my very first half marathon.
Incredible. And and all those knee surgeries.
Yeah, knee
like
surgeries,
incredible.
knee surgeries and a heart surgery in a 3-month period. In the medical world, I mean, I will tell you, I was ruffling some feathers. Every time I went in for my quote unquote checkups, it was, I don't know why you're doing that. You're going to kill yourself doing that. You should really, listen to us. And I'm thinking, I listened to you for 3 months and it got me nowhere. It got me sicker. And so I decided to take my health into my own hands. I listened to my body and I listened to my God, and look at what I've done. And 2 months later, we were pregnant with Peyton, our sweet little 11-year-old daughter. And, it's just, I can't imagine. We do 5Ks together now, my kids and I. We have two children. We have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. And I'm telling you, there are legitimate limitations on our body, but there are so many false limitations. And it's only a limitation if we let it be. And there are things that our body needs to heal from, but our bodies were made to heal. And that is what that whole season of my life showed me was, if we give our bodies the right environment, they will heal. They don't need to be told what to do. They know what to do. We need to support them, and we need to create an environment that they can thrive in. So fast forward a few years, I was making elderberry syrup for my family. That was just what I was doing, holistic and supporting the body rather than suppressing it. And so I was part of like a mom's group, and the moms were like, oh my gosh, your kids are never sick. What are you giving them? Oh, elderberry syrup. And they're like, can you bring me some? Sure. So that is how Elderwise Organics started. Was because I started giving it to the local mamas, and then they told people and they told people and they told people, and now it's scaled to what it is today. And so it really is rooted in this passion for holistic health and believing in the body and believing in what the body is capable of. Now, through my motherhood journey, and pregnancies and all of that. I had beautiful pregnancies. It's not that, it was my recovery
Mhm.
postpartum. That was so hard on my body. And you know what can be harder even is when you know how to support the body and the body isn't responding the way that it used to when you're
Yes.
doing all of the things, right? So I was doing all of the cleanses. I was drinking all of the shakes. I was doing all of the, taking all of the supplements. My gosh, I joke now, like I had a graveyard of supplements. I mean, it was
Yes.
just, four of our, drawers were full of different things all of the time. And somebody was surely always on a detox. If it wasn't me, it was one of my girlfriends. We were always in the group chat of like, so how'd your whatever detox go this last week? It was like, that was the solution. And also running. And my body was not losing weight. I will never forget. This was another like key moment. I went to a little mommy group. I was a part of one through our church. And all the kids were playing and we're all sitting around and so many of the moms were like eating donuts and they're eating their, Cheetos and different stuff. And I'm sitting there with my carrots and hummus. And I am like, God, what is actually going on right now? I'm like, I feel like the Michelin man and they are fit as a fiddle. Look at them. Look at them. Like I'm sitting there just having this like internal dialogue and I'm like, there's something broken in me. There's something broken. I need to fix myself. I'm doing everything I know to fix myself and I'm still broken and so frustrated. And so that afternoon when I went home, I put the kids down for a nap. And usually I would, get housework done and do the tidying and all of that. And I just felt like I needed to sit and be with him. And so I did. And I just brought my frustrations and I'm like, I'm mad. I passed frustration at that point because I was doing everything that I knew how to do and it wasn't working. And I remember him saying, well, have you ever thought of the condition of your heart? And it's so interesting that he used those words because I knew that my heart had no problems at all. It wasn't when I went for a run, I had any issues. He was talking about my emotional heart. And at that point, I had no concept of emotions and physical health. I'm like, what would it matter if I have anything in my heart that's going to impact my health? And he said, you see yourself as broken, needing to be fixed, but I see you as wounded and you get to be healed. And it totally shifted my entire perspective. It went from fixing and doing and having to put something together and having to have a plan and having to piece it all together perfectly in order for it to go back together the way that I know that it needs to go, compared to rest and breath. Like literally when he spoke that to me, I remember taking a sigh, like an inhale of just like, oh, okay. And he's like, will you let me take you on another healing journey? And it's going to be radically different, just like the first one was. But this one is targeted towards your heart in a different way. And he took me on a journey of healing my heart in a way that I didn't even know that it was broken.
Mhm.
I didn't even know it needed to be healed. And it was childhood trauma. It was the ways that I've coped in the past. At age 22, I found myself as an alcoholic. And so I've been sober ever since age 22. So to know that at age 22, I had already developed a dependency on an outside source to numb what was so deep inside of me. And that I think is something that the world just doesn't talk enough about. Why have you become dependent on something, whether it's alcohol, sugar, caffeine, all of the things that the world just normalizes as like, oh, it's fine. You like to have a drink once in a while. Only you will know what your level of dependency is. And I think that the world just needs to talk more about the reason behind it. It's not a problem if you have a drink once in a while. It's not a problem if you enjoy your coffee or enjoy your sugary, treats. But when you're using it to numb and disassociate and not have to deal with what's going inside of you, that's when it's something that I don't want that. I want to feel healthy and whole. I want to be able to process what's inside of me and not use something outside of me to numb it. And we just need to talk more about that. And that's what's healthy. That is how you're actually going to heal. So the Lord took me on a healing journey and I lost 40 pounds in 5 months processing my emotions. And it's truly a reflection of what was going on internally. I was carrying things that were never meant for me to carry. I was holding on to trauma and wounds that the Lord said, you don't have to carry that. In my word, it says that my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Why are you carrying these burdens when I would gladly take them for you? In fact, I already did. You just need to lay them down at my feet. And at that point, I realized I am doing things so much harder than I need to. I'm trying to do all of the things that I can control when in reality, I need to release it so that I can heal from the inside out and in a totally radically different way, not with a detox, not with a cleanse, but truly the root of my hurt and my wounds is in my heart. So all of that has created such this passion in my heart for what is healing, and I know we talked about this a little bit before we got on, but if I'm going to choose pharmaceuticals over supplements, I would absolutely choose supplements. Of course, but that doesn't mean that that is the solution. It is part of it. We need to support our bodies, not silence them and not manipulate them. And unfortunately, goes against what, a lot of people will preach and talk about, but the supplement is not the solution. It's another Band-Aid. And it's another way to tell the body what it needs to do rather than saying, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to support you. And then I'm going to take it one step further. And I'm actually going to listen to you and create a safe place for you to show whatever symptom it is. Whatever symptom it is. I think that so many times people are so scared of their symptoms. And I'm saying, praise God that your body is showing that. It's showing that there's something inside that's off. Thank your body. Thank you so much for showing this to me so that I can get one step closer to being realigned and, operating from the place that I'm created to operate from, which is healing and wholeness. So not having people be afraid of their symptoms, but rather taking them as a sign of what your body's trying to communicate. And, in our world today, we're so obsessed with self-love. And I think that there's such a dynamic piece that's missing to that. I remember after, going through this journey and arriving at this place where I'm like, Lord, I don't think I've ever loved myself with this kind of love before. I had so much compassion for myself, my past and my coping and all of the ways that I had really, numbed myself. It wasn't an excuse, but it sure explained it. After I started seeing some of the trauma and opened my eyes to being willing to see it and not just wanting to shove it down deeper so that I didn't have to deal with it, just really truly opening my eyes to like, wow, that actually happened to you, or wow, this is how you've been coping with this. I had compassion for myself. I didn't have judgment. I didn't look at myself anymore and be like, what the heck is wrong with you? Why can't you just figure this out? You keep doing the dumb thing. I felt like Paul, like I keep doing the thing that I don't want to do. And I'm like, that's me, God. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why I keep doing this. And he opened my eyes to, well, honey, that's a wound because you have, been attacked or you've been hurt or you've been lied to or you've been this. And I'm like, oh, so I had compassion for myself, not judgment. And I remember coming to him one day and just saying, Lord, there's something missing. I can feel it. I'm like, self-love is important. And I've never loved myself like this before. Truly embraced all of the parts of me, the good parts, the hard parts, the parts that are still wounded, that are healing. Like I truly embraced my full self. But I'm like, Lord, there's something missing. And he said, well, I want you to think about a couple of the relationships that you have in your life that you would say you love that person. And immediately, Shannon, the word that came to my mind was trust. And I was like, I trust them before I love them or let them love me. Like there's a trust here. It's like, I trust that I'm going to be safe with them. I trust that what I share with them is going to stay confidential. I trust that what I show to them and they show to me isn't going to be too much. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm scared of your stuff. Like your stuff is too much. And he said, do you trust yourself? And I sat in that, Shannon, I sat in that and was honest with myself. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever been shown how to or told that I can. Because if you think about it as from childhood, even we're told these messages of like, oh, don't cry, get over it. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's no problem. Just move on. Well, that tells us that what we're feeling is wrong and what we're feeling is too much. So the world isn't going to take time to process. We sure aren't going to take time. We're also a slave to our schedules. And so it's like, I don't have time for this. Move on. And everything gets shoved and piled until the point where the body's like, hello, need a break here. Like, we cannot keep piling this on. It breaks us. It does. And sometimes it's a simple just coming to yourself and saying, I want to trust you. I want to be able to enter into a relationship with my physical body, to be able to listen to the symptoms and say, it's okay. It's okay that you have a headache right now. I want to know what that is. Do you need salt? Do you need water? Do you need rest? Do you need just 5 minutes of silence? Like you give somebody a 5-step plan and they're like, yes, I can do this. You give somebody 5 minutes of silence and they're like, what am I supposed to do with that? And it's like we need to get better about being able to sit with ourselves and say, I know that I have not shown you respect and love and honor in the past. And I want that to be different. If you think about it, we've violated ourselves over and over and over in the name of hustle, in the name of making everybody else happy, in the name of half the time eating stuff that we don't even want to eat, but we're like, I guess this is what I've got to eat. This is what it is. Or my family thinks I'm crazy if I don't eat the gluten. So I'm going to eat the gluten, but I know that it makes me want to puke. And it's like, then don't do that. But we do it over and over and over and over because we would rather violate ourselves than make somebody else mad. We can deal with what it feels like to violate ourselves. We know that that's a familiar feeling, but somebody else's, we're like, I don't know how they're going to respond. I don't know what they're going to do. So I'm just going to make them happy because I know how to deal with not making myself happy. And so over and over and over, we have violated ourselves to the point that we have broken trust with ourselves. And so then when we have these aha moments of like, oh my gosh, trusting myself, it's that easy. Okay, I'll do that. Body, I trust you. No, that would be like someone who has extremely hurt you coming back and being like, guess what? It's all daisies and roses now. We're good. And you're thinking, no, we are not good. You haven't even said anything. All you've said is, I want to trust. I want your trust back. I want your trust back. So we have to go to our inward self, our inner being, and say, I am so sorry that I have violated you in an effort to make other people happy. And sit with that feeling. Be brave enough to sit with the feeling that you have actually hurt yourself to honor others. You have chosen to honor others over yourself. And that is an uncomfortable position. I know that. But I'm telling you, is what leads to healing. It's what leads to that self-trust, is what leads to being able to rekindle that relationship with your inner self to say, wow, I've hurt you. I've messed up. I want things to change. Today's the day that that changes. And here's what it is. I'm going to sit in that and I'm going to say, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I want to show it. 4 phrases. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I want to show it. And see what that does and incorporate that into your time with yourself. You have 5 minutes by yourself. Start there. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and I want to show it. And I'm telling you, when you take your supplements, when you take your things, your body will probably absorb it and take it in so much better because it feels safe. It feels safe to take in the goodness. It doesn't feel like it's always having to put up a shield because it doesn't know what's coming with it. Oh, you're going to give me a supplement, but then you're going to shame me because I don't respond in the time that you want me to. You're going to take in a cleanse, and then when I don't perform the way that you want me to, I've done it wrong. When in reality, the body knows exactly what it's doing. And if you truly want to heal it, all you need to do is support it. And it will do what it needs to do. And you need to create a safe place for it to be able to show the symptoms, to be able to present itself, and to not be shameful towards your body, but to actually express appreciation. And if we could do that, I think it would radically change how our bodies respond to the healing process that we want it to be going on.
I feel like I need to clap. Like that was beautiful. I feel like you hit on every topic that I possibly want to ask you on. I mean, gosh, I love this perspective, right? Your body is made to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
that trust, I think we lose that and we don't understand what trust really means too. And I think if you're listening to that might be uncomfortable. And I want to just like preface that, like when you're going through this healing journey, and maybe you're learning to trust yourself, love yourself again, it doesn't always feel comfortable, right? And that's
Yeah.
okay. And it's okay to sit with that, but not to be like, well, it didn't work. It's uncomfortable and like run away. It's like give your body that time too to process, to learn things different, to learn a different way of healing, to learn a different way of thinking and a different way of being, right? Because this isn't just about your health journey. It's also how you show up in your business and your day-to-day life for your kids, right? Because when you can sit with this, you heal so much. You heal relationships, you heal past traumas, generational trauma, there's so
Yeah.
much to this. And I think I can't remember the exact word you say, but it's like, who you are in this process. I can't remember what you said, but it was beautiful. It's
Yes,
this
it's,
process.
what you're building and what you're growing, and specifically for entrepreneurs, but women and moms too, it's the whole concept of what you're building and growing is just as important. It's just as important as who you're becoming in the process. And you can apply that to your healing journey too. On your healing journey, it's not about telling your body what it needs to do, but rather embracing your body in this newness that's coming with it, because you will change. Your physical body will change, your mental capacity will change, your mental outlook. I mean, people, don't be surprised if people walk up to you and they're like, wow, something is different. Even if you don't lose a pound, something changes. Your physical appearance changes because you're no longer holding anger. You're no longer holding guilt. You're no longer holding shame. It changes because it manifests in your body. And when you are able to recognize that your emotions and who you are is just as important as what you're growing and building and creating in life, it changes your total perspective, because it's no longer about a to-do list. It's also about a to-be list. And I think we don't take enough time to focus on that. It's all about what am I going to get done today, but also who are you in the process. It's not just about doing a cleanse. It's about embracing your body and seeing all of the changes that come about it and recognizing, oh, I didn't know that about myself. I'm going to make a mental note of that. My body does really well with this and doesn't do so well with that. Or if I'm at this time in my cycle, I do a lot better with this compared to that. And recognizing that, right? Like that's a pause to be able to take time to self-reflect. But then also, who am I being in the process? I love talking about that, of like simply making dinner and serving it to your family. It's totally one thing to like make a beautiful dinner and then serve it on the plate and be like, there's your dinner, compared to being like, hi, how was your day at work? Here's your dinner. I made this for you. I know that your favorite is la di da di da. And so I wanted to make sure that you had that today. Oh my word, who you are in the process, right? It's about the becoming is just as important as the doing. And I think in our health journeys, we can get so stuck on what we're doing that we're not focused on who we are becoming in the process. And that, I'm telling you, friend, like, yeah, I lost 40 pounds in 5 months. Like, it's amazing. I don't want to discount that. It's amazing. But the transformation of myself and who I became in that process is actually what I'm even more proud of and more grateful for.
Yeah.
And guess what? I've gained some weight back. I had a miscarriage, I got COVID, like my body went through another wreck again. And it was like my poor body and, supporting it again. The external changes, the internal doesn't. All of those things that I learned along the way, all of those things, I got to implement those still, because I chose to grow while I went through it. And when you choose that, the transformation is so much more than just physical. It's so much more than making sure you take your supplements and take your things. It's who am I becoming as my body changes, as I develop trust with my body, as I grow, as my body heals. Who am I becoming in that process? And I'm telling you, you will. I mean, my husband was like, honey, I don't get it. Help me understand, And then he went on his own healing journey and trauma, because he's like, I want that. I want a radical transformation of my whole entire being and self. And it's a ripple effect. It becomes something where people notice it so starkly different, because your body changes in so many ways. So more than a to-do list, a to-be list, and focusing on who you're becoming in the process, and just really giving yourself the ability to trust again is, I feel like, just and it's such an important part of the process that not enough people talk about.
Yeah, I love this. I think to wrap it up, if there's somebody that's maybe in this position,
Mm,
of healing, maybe not trusting their body in a health battle, you know,
mm,
and feels like a little broken or helpless,
Mhm.
what would you do to just gently encourage them in the right direction?
Hmm. I honestly think that if you can have eyes of compassion for yourself, it changes everything. Because once you can have that for yourself, you're able to have it for other people. And I believe that in the word, when it says to love your neighbor like you love yourself, if you're missing that compassion for yourself to see that you're not broken, needing to be fixed, but that you're wounded and you need to be healed, it takes off judgment. Judgment and compassion cannot exist at the same time. And I think too many of us have a lot of judgment towards ourselves. Therefore, we're going to have that towards others. It's just a natural human reflection. If it is what you harbor inside, it is what will come out. And so, if you can look at yourself with compassion and say, I'm not broken, I'm wounded, I don't need to be fixed, I need to be healed. And you enter into that healing environment and space with an open heart towards, and I'm going to let my body show whatever it needs to show. And I'm not going to be afraid of it. And I'm not going to look at it as wrong or why is it showing up like this or why is it doing that? It's doing it because that's what it needs to do. And you get to respond. You get to be that safe place for it that it's probably never had before. You get to be the safe place for yourself. And that is the gift that you get to start with is compassion for yourself. And from there, it will just ripple effect into all of the different components and healing and processes. But if you're constantly trying to fix a broken body, it truly will never be able to heal.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for all of these beautiful words. Sure this
Mm-hmm.
hit home with a lot of people. Holly, if people wanted to find you, or connect with you, can you let us know where they would do that?
Absolutely. We are on social media, elderwiseorganics.com. I do have a private account. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to have a public, Holly Renee Overcashier account? I would say find us on Elderwise. I'm super active on there. I love interacting with people. You can learn all about sea moss and elderberry syrup and mushroom coffee and how we source our matcha. I mean, it's so fun on there. So come and join us on there. And if I do start my own, page, that'll be where I announce it. So you'll be able to be up to date. And then visit our website and subscribe to our emails. We love sending out information and updating people and, sharing tidbits here and there and just different insights and tips. And it's all about holistic health and all about healing and, the emotions piece too. We incorporate it all. So come and find us on there. We love to connect with our customers and just people in general who are like-minded. And it's so fun. I mean, that's just how we connected too. Online, it's such a unique space. So thank you so much for creating this opportunity and thank you for your listeners for taking the time. Time is such a valuable commodity and I don't take that for granted. So thank you for joining us on here and letting me be vulnerable and share my story. It's such a part of me and I think so many people can say, wow, I'm right there. And I just want to say, you don't have to stay there. You can choose
Mhm.
different. There's so much healing in store. And let's stay connected because the conversation can grow so much from here. So come and find us on Elderwise Organics on Instagram or Facebook, and we can stay connected that way.
Wonderful. Awesome. Go follow her company, her journey. It's amazing. And thank you so much. If any of you listening really, if this resonated with you, I would love to hear below if you want to leave a review or just private DM me. Just, I love to hear when people have impactful conversations and how they kind of shifted or changed your personal journey. So, thank you guys for listening. If you found this helpful, of course, we appreciate reviews and, ratings or again, a private DM is always good too. My heart is so happy. And thank you, Holly, so much for coming on the show. And we'll see you guys on the next one.